It's casual. It's slow casual, yes.
Slow casual.
Well, we're all thinking about the next, breakfast place we're going after this. You're going to Garcia's for breakfast tacos.
I'll go to Central Grill.
Oh, they're great. The new spot.
They're good.
Have you been there yet?
I love it.
I have not.
We just went yesterday for the first time. They're really good.
It's an old Burger Chef building.
Right.
It's awesome.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember what that building was
Burger
before.
Chef and Jeff. Yeah.
Right. And what are you going for, tacos or burritos or something after this?
That's maybe down there.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we'll go to South Valley.
Right. And you would go to...
If they were open today, I would go to the Grove.
Oh, of course. That is the go-to.
That's a bad Monday when I pull into their parking lot and they're closed.
Remember that they're closed.
I always forget.
Right.
And all you have on the mind is an English muffin
And they're
They're
closed.
English muffins.
Yeah.
Well,
In your mouth. They're so good.
We were talking about earthships and mortgages, and you can't do that. And there is something, why can't you get something like, they are kind of crazy and out there. Why can't you get an earthship mortgage appraised? I mean,
Well, it has to do with mortgages are made locally and sold into the national mortgage market. And your purchasers of mortgages have a cookie-cutter approach to what kind of mortgages they'll buy.
So some guy in New York City doesn't necessarily understand.
Well, it's some guy at Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac.
Doesn't necessarily understand that there's some awesome homes here.
It has to do with marketability. If somebody puts an earthship on the market for sale, it could take them 2 or 3 years to sell it. So the marketability is very slow.
Right.
So it's not a mortgage banked opportunity.
It's a niche market.
Niche market.
Even though there are hundreds of these things in Taos.
There are, but they're also considered experimental architecture.
Right,
so
bad,
the building code
yeah.
doesn't cover that. And so that's where a lot of people have reticence about covering it because they don't really know what's in there.
Right. Well, like you were
How
talking
do you
about
insure that even?
the tires and outgassing is one concern of many.
Right.
Right.
And that's kind of like what makes it hard to appraise the value. It's kind of one of those things where you put your own personal value on it, I guess.
Yeah. To the right person, it's worth whatever. Yes.
And now, because and you can speak to this probably more than I can, because they send things out for appraisal to someone who may not know about natural building or sustainable building. It's just somebody who's been assigned this case, and they may not know how to finesse the numbers so that it really reflects what's actually in
the
there.
value.
Finesse the numbers. I have to sit over here now.
You know what I mean? Like they may not know what they're how to appraise that exactly.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. There's so few of them. There's so few comparable sales.
Right.
And that's what makes that secondary mortgage market is the abundance of comparable sales.
So does there really kind of need to be like a longevity of desirability of a kind of home?
Well,
to work?
Absolutely. What the general public is willing to purchase is what the mortgage community can readily loan on, what the appraisal community can readily come to appraised values on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So with the earthships, like how long would it take then for something to figure out a value for something like that? Because it is so far out there. Another 20 years, another 200 homes built, or
Be way past my Social Security time.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. And these things are not cheap to build off the bat, are they?
$225 a square foot.
Wow. That's because a normal house is about 100, 150 square foot.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's really expensive. So how do these people afford to build an earthship?
Cash.
Just cash laid out?
A lot of it's sweat equity. I mean, the beauty of the
Yes.
earthships is that they bring an entire community together to build these buildings. It's not just you and your husband or boyfriend or whatever. It's you and 30 other people that come up, and everybody's pounding dirt and tires, and everybody's helping take wheelbarrow loads across the.
Kind of like a barn raising in the
It
old
is
days.
like a barn raising, and so there's a cultural phenomenon around them also, which is actually part of the real beauty of them.
Yeah.
Is there like a model home that you can go and stay in overnight
Yes.
to find out?
There's even a resort up there.
There actually is. It's called Greater World Community. That's Earthship Central. That's where Michael Reynolds started all of it. And they have the Phoenix, which we showed, we talked about earlier. But then they also have rentals, and they have tours that they do through all their site. And it's really interesting. And actually, even UNM Taos has an Earthship class. So if you wanted to learn how to build an Earthship, you could take a class at UNM Taos if you wanted to.
This is the Phoenix here.
Phoenix.
Right? And you can actually stay there.
You can stay there.
Yeah. How much is it expensive?
I think, but I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. Maybe
There's
do a
gotta-
morning brew on the road, Steve. We'll go do that. Take
That sounds cool.
There's got to be a generation of folks that's a little too woo for, though. You think?
Yeah.
Right.
That absolutely is true. That some people get really freaked out by when they find out all the different materials that
Yeah.
are used. Like they think it's cool in principle, and then they start trying to think about living in it, and they're
Right.
like, I don't
Not
know.
for me.
Right. Like, there is something to be said for
It
just
would
a
be
nice
good.
countertop.
Right.
It would be a
Right.
fun weekend getaway for a group of people, though.
Right. Just go up to
A
town
lot
for
of my
the
friends do
Take
that.
a taco truck with us.
Take the taco truck, and then we can sequester ourselves there and write our taco truck book
There you go.
There you go.
over the weekend.
There's
plan.
a plan right there on the table.
I love it. I love it.
And they grow their own food, so you don't even have to leave.
We'll
can go see
we'll
that.
convene here in 6 weeks and put this together. We'll see you guys then.
That'd be awesome. That would be really awesome.
Cool.
So now that you're back in town and you're looking at all of these restaurants and hearing about all these foods, what did you, when you went to Denver, other than the chili, what did you miss most about Albuquerque?
Gosh, me. I mean, definitely the friends, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
food-wise.
met tons of cool people, but
food-wise.
food-wise, I'm a sucker for going to Sadie's on Sundays and having chips and salsa and some margaritas. And I'd always go there and watch football and do
Yeah.
that. So that was one of my things. I grew up going to Sadie's when it was still in the bowling alley.
Right.
So it's always going to have that special place in my heart,
Right.
So that was the biggest one.
The one on 4th? Is that where you go?
Yeah. Or I'll go to the one on Academy sometimes too.
Right.
Yeah, there is something nice about it's comfort food that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well, there is something, too, to be said for the restaurants we take for granted. Those old
Yeah.
standbys, the restaurants you always want to go to. For me, I've got a bunch of them in town.
Yeah.
Greg, what's your go-to standby?
Garcia's from Mexico.
Garcia's,
Yeah.
standby.
Cafe Lush.
Cervantes.
Oh, good choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is absolutely one of them. Absolutely one of them. Maybe it's First Cafeteria for me? I don't know.
Oh, wow. The
Not.
first cafeteria, not first fresh.
No, any of them.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a couple of seconds. We'll talk a little bit more on the Morning Brew with
Forget
Friends.
the fresh part of it.